everybody, it's Graeme from Frontenac Cycle again with another nutrition video. We're here with Landon, who is a dietitian with background in kinesiology and nutrition. He's also got a diploma in sport nutrition from the International Olympic Committee. So he's a really smart guy, and you got to listen to what he says. Hello, Landon.
Sometimes you should listen. Not always.
Sometimes. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about nutrition involved with a bit more of competitive cycling. So what are some things regarding the nutrition that a competitive cyclist has to consider when starting to formally train?
So when cyclists start to train, they start breaking down their years, they have a training plan, and it's becoming more formal. They start looking at their different zones, whether it's power, heart rate, whatever they're doing, and they have like their zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever system they're working with. So nutrition's kind of the same way. We want to have a big picture, so we want to make sure that you're eating enough and have enough energy, but we're also going to want to break down your macronutrients and make sure you're getting enough to fuel yourself, repair, recover, and what you need. So that'd be your carbohydrates, your protein, fat, and we can't forget about hydration too, so your water is also really important.
Okay. And so is it just about total macronutrient intakes for the day, or? No,
I mean, we want to look at a day, like the total day, but if your target is, we'll talk about targets in a little bit, but let's say you're aiming for 100 grams of protein. And if you sat down and you ate 3 or 4 pork chops or a bunch of chicken breasts or a whole bunch of tofu at one time, you're not going to get the most benefit. So your timing is going to be very important. So you want to look at when you're eating, what you're eating, and the space between them, and all in relationship to when you're training to have the most benefit.
Okay, yeah. So what are some targets for, say, carbohydrates?
Carbohydrates, first, you should know what they're used for. They're a fuel source, so you need enough energy. So with high volume training, you're going to need quite a few compared to the average person. So you'd be looking at 6 to 10 grams per kilogram. Okay. And do you know your weight in kilograms?
Yes, I do. It is 86.
You don't have to answer it.
86.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for those that don't know, just use your scale. You can hit a button, change it from pounds to kilograms. Very easy. If you know it in pounds, divide by 2.2.
Okay.
And if math is not good for you, you can always get help from another person. So now that you know your weight in kilograms, 6 to 10 is what I'd be aiming for. Okay. So that's going to be enough to fuel yourself. But coming into a race, though, have you ever heard of carb loading?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so what's your idea of carb loading?
Carb loading, like just eating a ton of pasta before the race.
Yeah, and like I think some events even used to have like pasta dinners, and it's like all you can eat. So you don't need to do that.
Okay.
We'd be looking for 10 to 12 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of your body weight, and it's only going to be for the day or two before your event, or 36 hours. Okay. So you take that day, go back a day and a half or two, and you start then. So just 1 or 2 grams per kilogram extra. So that can be a small thing. It could be a little extra fruit, could be a bagel, could be a treat that you like, sport drink, gels, whatever during your train ride, maybe add those in. So it doesn't have to be an excessive amount because you're already getting a high amount to support your training.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I'm following you here. I'm going to be able to watch this later in the video as well, so it's great. And what about, so instead of carbohydrates, what about protein?
So again, protein is really important for our bodies, and we need it for rebuilding and repairing all of our tissue. So to give you a range, the average healthy person, the recommendation would be around 0.8 grams per kilogram. For those that have a higher volume of training, it used to be if you're doing aerobic type base or strength training, they had different values, but now we're kind of going across the board because even though you're an endurance athlete, you need a lot of protein. A lot of things have to transport all the energy and fuel that you're using, and all that is protein. So aiming for 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram would be a good range. And we can easily meet that by breaking it up multiple times throughout the day. So we don't want to have it all in one sitting. We want to have it kind of every 3, 4, 5 hours and have it consistent. And we want to time it very well.
Okay. What about for fluids? Is that?
So fluids, it's going to depend on the person, depends on the environment. So this changes a lot. So you can have your kind of base fluid needs. So you can use the recommended amount. But then that's going to change for cyclists, especially when you're training. So I don't know if you do any indoor sessions on a trainer.
Few and far between.
If you have a laminate floor or some type of tile that collects sweat, you'll see a giant pool. Yeah. It's a giant bathtub.
Yeah.
So that you're going to be sweating a lot more. So you're going to have to count for that.
Okay.
So we can talk about that in a little bit because hydration is a huge topic.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So why don't I break it down? So
yeah, break it down for me.
All right, I'll break it down for you. So our macro is everything, your target's everything? No, we want to have better time with things.
Okay.
So if you're going for a ride, When do you think is the best time to have protein? You probably know this already, and I don't even need to tell you.
A few hours before the ride.
Yeah, if you can have a few hours, then that's okay then, because you're going to help recover from the day before.
Okay.
But if we're going for a ride, we want to eat carbohydrates beforehand, because that's going to give us the fuel source to get us going.
Okay.
And we want carbohydrates during the ride, so we have that extra fuel source. But as soon as we finish, that's when we want to recover.
Okay.
We stress our bodies, we cause a little bit of damage, we're going to have the most benefit at that time. So at that point, you want protein.
I'm remembering the chocolate milk commercials.
Yeah,
now.
chocolate
Yes.
milk, totally.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about chocolate milk commercials?
They tell you to drink it after you perform because that will help rebuild your muscles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the reason why they push chocolate milk in those ads is because it's a good source of protein. Dairy is actually a bonus point because it has a good type of protein that's beneficial, and it also has carbohydrates. So if you have just protein, our body's not going to use it to repair what it needs to. It's going to use it for energy first. So it's not very efficient, and it also costs more. So to be budget friendly, have some protein, and then you want to pair with carbs. So doing a 3-to-1 ratio of carbohydrates to protein is going to be more beneficial. But the key is you want to have that within 20 minutes of when you finish.
Okay.
After that, you miss the first gap.
Okay. So timing is key here. Yes.
So you need to be planned in advance and have it ready, because 20 minutes is not that long. So if you get off your bike, you go to your vehicle, by the time you drive home and hit traffic, you already missed that whole benefit. So your training session, you just wasted a portion of it.
Okay. We're learning things here.
And then after that, then you want to eat every kind of 3, 4, 5 hours, and we want to continually have consistent balanced meals. So a good target would be aiming for about 0.3 grams per kilogram of your body weight for protein every meal. You want to include carbohydrates with it, and then you're also going to need to add fats in as well, because you're going to need to meet your energy needs.
Okay.
So if you eat 5 to 7 times a day, 0.3 grams per kilogram each time roughly, give or take. I mean, I'm not going to measure every chicken breast out and every edamame. But that will add up to roughly 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram, so you can meet your needs easily without going overboard.
Cool. Okay. So cyclists are obsessed about power to weight, kilograms, watts per kilogram. What about weight loss and nutrition in cycling?
Yeah, so if you're going to be competitive, you definitely want to have the right body composition for the sport. That being said, we don't want you to lose weight during your training times and during the season when you're competing, because you're going to be short on the nutrients you need. So you want to support the training that you're doing so you have the most benefit. So if you're not at your ideal body composition, the time to do that would be the off season. And I would highly recommend seeing someone to help you with this. Because anytime to lose weight, you're going to have to restrict the amount of calories you're taking in. You're going to want a little higher protein intake in that time to preserve your lean mass, so you're not losing any of that, what you worked on.
Yeah.
So the big thing is going to be, during your training block, we want to eat to fuel and support what we're training and what we're doing. During the season, we want to support what we're doing, and you might lose weight because of high volume. Sometimes it's hard to eat enough, especially if you're traveling, you're on the road, or whatever, life's busy, it happens. But we definitely want to support your training at that time, and weight loss would not be a goal.
Okay. So weight loss is before the season starts.
Yeah, off season, weight loss. During season, we want to support it. Even if you lose that weight and you're like, yep, my watts stayed the same and my weight dropped, it doesn't really work that way. If you're not eating, you're not going to be able to put out that power. You're not going to be able to repeat your sprints the same way. So anytime there's a surge, you're going to get dropped. And if you're trying to get up that climb, you might be okay for a short one, but you're not going to have the energy to make it up a long one or every lap during the race.
Right. You're not going to have all those punches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so if you were to suggest 1 or 2 things that athletes could improve with their nutrition, what would they be?
Eat frequently and eat balanced meals.
Yeah.
And drink lots of fluids. So take those with you. A lot of people are typically dehydrated. Usually when I see athletes, they're not eating enough, and when they are eating, they're eating too much, and they're not eating, some of them aren't eating. That's not always a good thing either, but
Yeah.
we want you to eat, and we want you to eat frequently so you have the most benefit.
So you got to have the right volume, and it should be spread out evenly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. That's great having you here talking about nutrition. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, we'll see how you do with it now.
Yeah. Now you just have to follow your advice.
Yeah,
That's the easy part.
You're going to have group rides coming up, and you're going to be out the
True,
front,
yeah.
that energy, all the surges. Yeah,
I might stay on the back for the first few.
just to be humble and polite.
Okay. All right. Perfect.